Fall camp gets underway on Wednesday. Let's talk about some true freshmen who could make an immediate impact. What is up, Tide fans? Welcome back in to another episode of Tide Talk Live. Stacey Blackwood here, powered by the Believe Network. Also free and available on YouTube, wherever you find your podcast. Just search Tide Talk Live. Leave us a 5-star rating review. Subscribe to the channel. Smash that like button and jump in the comments here on YouTube and give us your thoughts on some true freshmen who you believe could make an immediate impact for the Crimson Tide this fall. So, as you know, this episode is all about several true freshmen who I believe could be instant impact players for Alabama entering the 2025 season. You know, every year a few young stars seem to rise up to the occasion and force their way onto the field. I think of guys like Minkah Fitzpatrick, Amari Cooper. You think of what Ryan Williams did last year as a true freshman at 17 years old. Every year it seems like at least one, maybe even two, or a handful step up and make an impact as true freshmen. And this 2025 class was completely loaded. We've talked about that a lot on this channel. And today we're just going to break down several true freshmen who I believe are really going to have a chance to make an early impact on this team and hopefully help this Crimson Tide program make another run at a national championship. So let's start things off with some guys who've already created a lot of buzz, whether that was in the spring or over the summer months. And to me, that really all starts with Dijon Lee, the 5-star cornerback out of Mission Viejo, California. You know, you're talking about a guy who is just prototypical size. Really, he exceeds the prototypical size of a modern SEC defensive back at, 6'3", 6'4", 200, 205 pounds, just a fluid athlete, physical at the point of attack. He plays with a confidence that's rare for a guy that's a true freshman. And it makes a lot of sense why he was ranked one of the top corners in the entire country. And we saw last year what Xavier Brown was able to do as a true freshman in the starting lineup. And we expect Xavier and Damani Jackson to be those two starters at corner. But I expect big things from Dijon Lee this fall. I can see a place where he's, that third option at corner. Don't know if he's going to fill in for Brown or for Jackson or how they plan to do that, but Dijon Lee is going to make an immediate impact and be a part of that rotation early, I believe, at that cornerback spot because he has all the traits that you're looking for, the length, the size, the athleticism. He is the complete package, and he really turned heads this spring, and I expect that to continue as fall camp gets underway. Another guy who created a lot of buzz was on the other side of the field, or on the other side of the ball, Lotzier Brooks, the true freshman wide receiver, just an explosive athlete. I think the first thing that you think of when you see Lazir Brooks is just his speed. It's special. It's different. He is one of the most explosive players with the ball in his hand that I've seen in a very long time, and he's the kind of playmaker that the Alabama fans, have gotten accustomed to seeing. Whether you think of guys like Jalen Waddle and all Henry Ruggs, just those guys who had that speed that nobody could catch him on the field. And I believe Brooks has that type of speed and that type of ability to make defenders miss in space and then kick it into high gear and outrun everybody to the end zone. So he impressed during spring. We heard all about that. He made a lot of improvements throughout the summer from things we've been hearing as well. And I think although you have guys like Ryan Williams, Jeremy Bernard, Zay Horton, Rico Scott, I think those are your top four guys. I do think that fifth spot is open for a guy like Lazir Brooks to step in and take over that spot and become a really significant player in this offense. I believe they're going to throw the ball more this year, and I think Brooks could be one of the recipients of that this fall. So I'm anxious to see how he kind of continues to improve and make noise as fall camp gets underway. Sticking on the offensive side of the ball, I can't leave off Keelon Russell, the 5-star quarterback, one of the top players in all the country in the class of 2025 from Duncanville, Texas. Alabama flipped him from SMU, and people thought, my gosh, what is Alabama doing recruiting SMU? But then you saw this kid rise in the rankings, showed out at the Elite 11, and this guy he can make all the throws. He can extend the play with his legs, and I think he is the long-term solution for Alabama. at the quarterback position. Even though I do believe Ty Simpson is a guy, I'm going to keep my eye on Russell as fall camp gets underway just to see how much noise he makes, because I do believe that he's going to get his opportunities late in ball games and different type of scenarios, and I think we're going to see him this fall. So I do still view him as an impact player potentially here in 2025. Now, staking along the offensive line, I think there's two guys here. You probably know who they are: Jackson Lloyd, Michael Carroll, two guys who were highly sought after in the class of 2025. We'll start with Jackson Lloyd, the 6'7" kid out of California, athletic, long, light on his feet. And to me, he just is the epitome of a future NFL left tackle. And, he may take some time to catch up to the speed of the SEC, the physicality of the SEC. And Caden Proctor has that left side. He has a stronghold on that position. But I really like Jackson Lloyd as maybe I think Vandermark. Vandermark's probably going to be the sixth option. But I could potentially see Jackson Lloyd or Michael Carroll move into that seventh guy along the offensive line. And injuries occur all the time up front. It's a very physical position in the sport. And guys like Jackson Lloyd and a guy like Michael Carroll, another guy who's just a dominant interior lineman, a big kid, strong, light on his feet, a lot like Jackson Lloyd. And I think that's something you're going to see this coaching staff continue to recruit along the offensive line, as guys who are big and physical, but are also light on their feet and can pull and make plays in space and get out in space and make blocks for their guys. So I really think that Jackson Lloyd and Michael Carroll have a chance to make some noise here in fall camp, and I'm going to be keeping my eye on them. And potentially, I like what Alabama has on the offensive line, but I do believe it's in terms of adding quality depth, which you always need up front along the offensive line. I really like what Jackson Lloyd and Michael Carroll bring to the table. Moving back to the defensive side of the ball, a guy we've talked about here as well, Ivan Taylor, of course, the son of former NFL Pro Bowler Ike Taylor. He's going to be back there at safety. Of course, we have Bray Hubbard, we have Keon Sabb, we have Zay Mincy, but I still believe that Ivan Taylor is a guy who has the instincts, has the smarts, has the versatility to be able to find a way to see snaps here this fall with the first team defense. So even with the Kane Womack's scheme on defense, I still feel that Ivan Taylor has a chance to make plays and to become a piece in this defense here in 2025. He has the range to kind of play that deep safety position, but he also has that physical toughness to kind of come downhill and make plays in the running game as well. So I think he had a good spring. I think he's obviously grown throughout the summer. I think he's going to be a key player on special teams. And I think with a strong fall camp, he could find his way into the rotation in the Alabama secondary. One more guy I'm going to talk about, a guy who everybody loves to talk about, but we're kind of uncertain of where he fits in on the depth chart because of the guys that are ahead of him. And that's Justin Hill. He's going to play the Wolf. I love this guy. He's from Cincinnati. Alabama beat Ohio State for him, the in-state program. And look, he has a lot of tools. I do think he's a little raw in some areas, but he's got some length. He's got some twitchiness to him. He's an explosive player. I think of guys like, I don't want to say he's going to be a Dallas Turner or Chris Braswell, but he reminds me of those type guys, of just the ability to get after the quarterback. And Alabama's looking for a guy that can get after the quarterback. Obviously, the pass rush was not what it needed to be in 2024. I do think it's going to be much improved here this season. And I'm just anxious to see how Justin Hill could potentially fit in that if he were to continue to develop and make plays here in fall camp, even with guys like, Quay Russaw, Yanze Pierre, those guys that are ahead of him. I still feel like, maybe even a Noah Carter that's ahead of him. I still feel like Justin Hill is talented enough, athletic enough, and really, for lack of a better term, freakish enough to make some noise this fall and maybe work his way into a little bit of rotational play here in 2025. So just to kind of recap the guys that I have on this list, I talked about Dijon Lee, the 5-star corner, Lotzier Brooks, the talented, explosive wide receiver, of course, Keelon Russell, the 5-star quarterback, a pair of offensive linemen in Jackson Lloyd and Michael Carroll, defensive back Ivan Taylor, the son of an NFL Pro Bowler, Ike Taylor, and then Justin Hill, a guy who could potentially be the future of Alabama's pass rush. So I love all these guys. There's obviously some more players who could potentially make an impact as true freshmen, but that's what I want to hear from you guys. Jump in the comments. Let me know which freshman you believe will make the biggest impact in 2025. I'm going to say it's Dijon Lee. I think he makes a huge splash this fall, despite having to be behind guys like Xavier Brown, Damani Jackson, potentially even a guy like Cam Calhoun. I just believe that Lee is a difference maker, and I think we can see that as soon as 2025. But if you enjoyed this breakdown, please make sure you smash that like button, subscribe here to our channel. Like I said, we're also free and available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, just wherever you find your podcast. Search for Tide Talk Live, and you can find us there. Leave us those 5-star written reviews, and we would greatly appreciate that. We are proud to be powered by the Believe Network, who helps us distribute the podcast to all those platforms. But, guys, thank you so much for watching. Fall camp is here, baby, and we're just right around the corner from the start of the college football season. Thank you so much for watching, guys. We'll see you real soon. Until then, roll Tide.